Strap on your VR headset because we're about to transport you into the captivating world of Ghosts of Tabor. Welcome to Tabor Radio. Hey, welcome to this episode of Tabor Radio. Today we have one that I'm so excited for.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped, man.
Yeah, he's been on my list of potential guests for quite a while now. You see him in the Discord. You see him hard at work all the time. Today we're joined with MrWhitty, the community manager for Ghosts of Tabor and Combat Waffle Studios as well. Before I go crazy, though, introducing you, hyping you up, MrWhitty, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit more for the listeners in case somehow they're not in the Discord seeing you moderate, manage things around?
24/7, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And that's saying a lot. I mean, there's a huge, effort that really goes into it. I think just as a team as a whole. So I definitely don't want to get that unsaid. I think a lot of people see me, but they're probably more familiar with the moderators, with how awesome they are. I mean, they just slay it. So I've been MrWhitty. I've been around for the VR scene for some years now. So a lot of people have probably come across me, but most of them have come across me without realizing it. Because I'm like one of those YouTubers, like a fart in the wind, right? Like you forgot that you subbed to me or something like that. So, and that's, the happy accident that kind of led into this. But yeah. Just been doing this a while, doing the marketing thing for a long time, and when you find a game like Tabor and that door opens up, you don't really consider shutting it. You know what I mean?
Well, you joke about your YouTube channel and stuff. I know you mostly from Ghosts of Tabor and stuff.
Ghosts of Tabor, yeah.
But make no mistake, you go to the MrWhitty YouTube channel. You have like 19K subs. That's no joke. You've got a little nice following. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be upset.
Little corner of the internet right before I started, and that's thankfully it was just right as Tabor was starting to get that traction that I picked it up on my channel. And I did a series called like Becoming a Ghost of Tabor. I would just do some random stuff, throw in a tip here and there, and I made one tip video. And Scott had always like been poking around, right? We knew of each other. I actually, me and Z-Storm, before we worked for the company a long time ago, because I've known Z-Storm for years. We got little sneak peeks and some stuff and some things like that. Even before I kind of went on a Tabor hiatus, because like whenever I started working for Tabor, I hadn't even played in a long time, dude. I had been grinding other stuff. I had made like a self declaration, like, hey, I'm going to play like different VR game like every week. I did that for like 6 months or something like that. So whenever it got around to, hey, like, do you want to work here kind of thing, it was just like, well, damn, dude, now I got to jump in the game and get my ass handed to me for another like month or something because I've been out of the game. It was pretty brutal, man. The amount of work these guys can accomplish in 6 months is mind bending. So you're playing a different game in 6 months.
Yeah. And that even holds true with that rate of improvement to today, with new maps, bug fixes, features.
Combat Waffle is the most aggressive studio. We've said it like a million freaking times, but it's like, and you said it great. I'm happy you said it right at the gate. It's a team. It's not an I situation with anybody. It's like literally a team, but what they can crank out in record time is just mind-boggling.
And that holds true for game development, but also the Discord, the social media, all that stuff. And diving into, I guess, how you got started at Combat Waffle, it sounds like it was a conversation with you and Scott, but had you already been working professionally in the virtual reality industry or doing community management marketing before that, or was this your first time going into that side of things?
So my little history takes me back to like, I want to say 2011-ish. We'd had a pretty decent hit to the oil market here in the South. And in Oklahoma, if you live anywhere in the South, you know that like if the oil fields are hurting, you are going to be hurting locally for a while. The country will feel it, of course, but like we feel it quite a bit here when that happens because our fuel is cheaper than in the big cities. And at that time, I was like, I had just had my first kid, and I was like, man, like I was doing armed security for years at that point for the world's largest casino. And I was a veteran, a young veteran. And here I was making like 12 something, dude, risking a lot for it. And some things had happened at my work that really made me reconsider my career choices and where I was headed, because, I was almost shot. So it was like, for the amount of money it was, I was like, in working for a place that is like every dollar that I'm guarding here is insured times 3. So why in the hell am I doing this? You know what I mean? And it was like a big moment in my eyes, dude. When you encounter some of the people you will encounter, and this is a cartel affiliated type of situation. And I was like, well, if I were to get too deep in anything like on accident, dude, like I don't want to end up in the wrong whatever. So I was on the computer like a couple weeks later, and I hated Facebook. Like social media started getting to me bad. I was like seeing how it was just really tearing up society in its own right, but how it could also be used for such good that I was like, well, it would make no sense for us to get rid of it. I mean, it does bring a level of transparency. There's this whole contemplation in my head, but I'm like, well, I still don't want to be on it though. So screw this. Like I'm getting rid of it. And I went to go delete my Facebook, and I made a joke out loud to my wife at the time. I said, the only way I would keep this shit is if I could make a living on it. And at that very moment, I stopped. I didn't press that delete button. And I had known a friend that was in marketing in the newspaper industry, and I knew that they did something digital. And I don't know how, it just like came to me, just like a gift from God almost, just like a message saying, hey, man, maybe you should look into marketing. I don't even know where it came from. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to delete this. I started diving in literally the next day to understand how to monetize social medias. This is like in the early days before it started. And I started there. Built a bunch of Facebook pages. Like MrWhitty Facebook has like 10,000. That was me streaming on Xbox long before VR was a thing. So I started my own page. I started pages that I knew jack shit about. So I would challenge myself. I would say, okay, I don't know anything about cars. I'm pretty bad with cars. Like I could take one apart if I need to, but I don't know what any of it does, right? Like I'm pretty bad with cars. I'm not an enthusiast. So I built like a page with like 1 million in Australia about cars, which is very difficult. And I wanted to target audiences that I'm also not a part of, right? I wanted to give myself the challenges of challenges. I built some pages that a lot of people end up following. I don't know, probably people on the stream will probably remember not Funny or Die. There's like Funny or what is it? Funny or Die Laughing or something like that on Facebook. I can't remember. But they had like 250,000 followers, and I ran it for like a year and got a bunch of people involved, like admins, groups. I would like build these pages for no reason that weren't making me any money, just to prove that I could do it, right? And eventually, like I was able to make a living off that, like doing little things here and there, and got into the world of newspaper like a year later. And then from there, my marketing really took off, like the online stuff. But even at the newspaper, like I had this epiphany that was like, okay, I'm making pretty good money. This is doing okay. Oh man. And there's one person I couldn't really stand that was in my close proximity of work, right? And Lord bless her, like I couldn't really stand the lady. And I made that company a lot of money. Like I was their breadwinner. So, but yet I had to deal with this lady all damn day. And she drove me nuts. And I was like, dude, if I'm making this kind of money sitting in front of the office at 7% commission, why don't I just do this shit for myself? So I had another thing. And that's like, from there, I went and was like, okay, well, I'm going to learn how to do that. Boom. So I went and served alcohol at that same casino, right? Knowing that I could make easier money than security and I wouldn't have to risk myself. So I said, boom, I'm going to serve alcohol because it's just easy money while I learn how to independently start an agency. So that's what I did for 2 years. And I started a small marketing gig of my own. And I have done that for the vast majority of my time in the past decade. About 7 or 8 years of that has been dedicated to scaling social medias, specifically more on the back end of like advertising. So I have worked in the VR space before, Tabor, and I've worked with a lot of companies. Some sports teams that people probably know, things of that nature. And it's more of, I was more focused on the data side. So I'm like a data-driven dweeb. I love numbers, and it's like, blah to me. And so I would take, someone who was, oh, we need to spend more money on a campaign. We don't know how to effectively acquire customers, right? Data or customer acquisition, things like that, knowing how to set up an advert and construct the videos in a way that's going to retain them on top of that, right? So it's like a combination of the whole marketing spiel kind of thing. And over the years, right, that's me being a nerd and doing that and having make like little videos since I was a kid. It kind of led me up to my YouTube, right? So everything's kind of culminated at this point. I'm like, okay, I've been doing marketing for this long. I love what I do. And now I've been doing this VR YouTube for 3 years. So I'm like pretty far into my marketing career, and I have these 2 babies of mine, and I love them so much. And it's like, oh, and this is last year. Okay. So we're at last year, and it was Soul actually that got me on board, Soul BC. So, we had talked a little bit about like me working, in the industry, because he had just gotten onto with Tabor, and he knew I was looking for work in this space. But my whole thought process behind that was, I love marketing. I want to do slightly less of the ads. I don't do any ads or anything for Tabor, but I was like, I really do want to do a little more of the social media, more of the organic side, more of like some kind of community driven thing where I can help get something really organized, really structured, really beautiful, and make some magic happen. But I don't want to. I'm tired of selling freaking. Like my last major client was the world's largest nuclear fallout shelter manufacturer, dude. If that tells you anything, okay? So like very, very far out from that, and then I'll have clients in the pizza industry, and then you know what I mean. Like I'll have different clients in different industries, and it's like I don't mind the e-commerce. I don't mind the retail. It's like, but dude, wouldn't it be cool if I could just take my love of VR, my love of marketing, and finally just make the baby happen, and I was trying for a while, bro. So like the better part of last year, that's what I was trying to do. True story. I mean, not even kidding. I interviewed for Combat Waffle long before I started, and I was barely passed up. So, and I mean narrowly. And I honestly thought that I had it in the bag whenever I interviewed it. Because I already knew one of the dudes was like, I mean, he could have started as an apprentice maybe or something, kind of thing. So I was like, well, I'm definitely not that guy. And then they were interviewing this other guy, and like the interview went on way too long. Like I noticed, I'm not getting it. Son of a bitch, man. And I didn't get it, right? Well, turns out, this was confirmed for me later, that wasn't entirely the main choice. Okay, so like I could have been on before, and would have loved to, but it just wasn't in anyone's timing, God's timing, I guess, most importantly. But just a few short months later, like 3 months later, true story, man. Like I don't know when anyone else's passed, but God tells me to do something that I don't want to do. Like it was clear that I'm supposed to do something that I do not want to freaking do. It's going to be awkward. I don't have to go. I'm not going to go into great detail, but it's like if anyone is a believer out there and understands what a rebuke is, you don't want to do them. And I had to do them. I had to tell someone something that just was, not okay. And I was like, I don't know what purpose you would have me do this for. And I don't, and like, and I was struggling at the time, like finding the work I needed, man. Not the work so much that I wanted, like I had just enough, but like I was like just getting by, right? It was like a rough time, and I don't know why. And I was like, God, I don't know like what you got planned for this. This is awkward, and this is just gonna ruin my day. But I'll do it anyway, bro. I did it. And that night I had like this weird dream that like I was given something. I don't even know what it was. I couldn't see the object, but like someone was handing me something, and the joy in me was just crazy. I wake up, look to my right, and then I have a message from Soul saying, do you want the job? So I was like, okay. All right. Yes, I'll take the job. When do I start? I was like, let's do this, dude.
That's a freaking awesome story.
Yeah, it gave me goosebumps, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I actually appreciate that you took us through the whole thing. That's something I love to hear is how it started, how one thing led to another, and the ripple effect to end up here today. So that was a great one. And so now you're being more of a community manager instead of the ads and stuff like that. What's your thoughts on it? I mean, Ghosts of Tabor is a hell of a Discord community and such.
I think I'm fine with it, because if I were to be managing like a big ad campaign, which, I mean, now it might not be as crazy. At the beginning, it would have been nuts, because, and I'm just thankful that I get to do this side of it anyway. But the main things, I cared about when I started was making sure everything wasn't in disarray, and we had like cohesiveness along things like the Discord, right? And that was a challenge for me, because here I'm a nerd, sure, but not a Discord nerd. I wasn't a Discord nerd, bro. Like I've even my YouTube Discord was set up by someone else, man. Like there's a lot that goes into Discord, man. Like a lot. A lot more people than people realize. And on its face, yeah, sure, it's straightforward, but like you can screw up things pretty easily when you have a big server, man. And that's one thing I noticed when I came aboard. Like even if I don't know how to fix something, I know how to get people, I know how to listen. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do is like you listen to those messages you're getting or those whatevers, man, like scan over them. And that's the first thing I noticed when I got on board. People telling me, hey, dude, I can delete your entire fucking server, right? I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, I'm a moderator and I can just wipe this thing off the planet, buddy. I'm like, really? Like these things are coming to me as soon as I start. And yeah, I mean, like the Discord was just disarray. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know shit. And but lo and behold, Alaska, the community manager, many of you know, brings me a meeting. He says, man, this guy really wants to meet with you. And he's been adamant about this BOA thing. And like just a go-getter, and he ain't gonna drop this. He really wants to meet you. He's just so adamant. And that was my very first meeting with Vex. And about 10 minutes into our conversation, I stopped him and I'm like, hey, bud, what do you do again? He's like, I'm in the Navy. And I'm like, have you ever considered being a moderator? And he's like, yeah, there's some kind of like rule, man. They said the BOAs couldn't be moderators and like this and that. And I was like, well, I'm in charge. So, and I just right-clicked him right there and just put in moderation. And I was like, dude, I need your help, like figuring out the intricacy of the Discord. So that's where I started. And that's, like you said, what do I think about it? I think it's awesome because I've been able to get aboard, meet awesome people, work hand in hand as a team, and go through and make sure everything I could handle. My main goal when I came back, dude, the first thing I saw is this game really focuses on community. Okay? I tell my mods this. If I die tomorrow, can you run this shit? They couldn't. That was my goal. By the time this game launches, we can die and you are fine. You own this. You run this. The community runs for the community, by the community. That was my goal. And I wanted it to be independent. That's why you see the structure in the Discord, why we have the head security. That's in it. It's not just why it's there. It's why it operates like that now. Before it didn't, And that's what I wanted for the community. So I love what I do because I'm able to do things like that don't involve me. I don't need, I don't give a shit. I don't need your back pats. I just want the community to have the saber. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. I don't even consider I love Scott, love all the people. I work for the people. And that's a job you can't like even equate that to a value, in my opinion, right? It's like really impactful, especially when you're talking about a game like Tabor. That's impacting VR and something that you can have a passion about, It's like you're that liaison, dude. The face of the game can fall on you sometimes, and it can be stressful, but the whole team as a whole takes it on so well that no one person has to, and it's fantastic. Love my job. I really do. It's awesome.
Well, I love the passion. I mean, you can it oozes passion, but your previous talent. I mean, because I knew none of that. I knew nothing about your marketing background. That's fucking insane.
Well, that's after I played guitar in the Army for for a contract too. I was like playing. I was doing the reserves in the middle of that. I didn't bring that, but that was a fun time too. I played guitar in the Army. That was my job in the Army. Was a literal guitar player. I'm not shitting you.
No, I had a friend.
How old are you, Mr. Whitty? Because you look young, 20s. You look young, but you got this like story of a man in his 50s, 60s.
Bro, I'll be 33 this year, but I don't think, even when I was like in high school, my average friend was probably like 20 years older, man.
Mm-hmm. I get
I've always had an old soul. I think a lot of people with druggy parents end up like that. You know what I mean? Either you end up a piece of trash or you end up getting wise quick. One of the two. Or thinking you're wise and being an idiot. I'm probably the latter, to be honest.
I love the admission of doing things for no other reason than to challenge yourself, because it's something what percentage of human being gets up in the morning and says, I'm going to do something that...
You make a car page in Australia.
Yeah, I don't know shit about this, but you know what? I'm going to do it, and it's going to be successful.
I figured if I did stuff I was comfortable with, I wouldn't get there any quicker. I mean, and I didn't have time to I just didn't have time. I felt like I didn't have time. Even though I believe, it's so ironic. I believe in eternity, yet I don't have enough time. Yeah, man, what can I do? But I just want to get stuff done here on Earth, man. Yeah,
well, I can't even imagine managing a Discord server of 100K people like Ghosts of Tabor.
Well, yeah, and that should be mentioned. It's not your normal.
We're not talking 2,000
It was only 60
people.
when I joined.
In fairness, only 60K.
It's almost double, but that's okay.
Well,
it's been pretty busy.
If you didn't get in there, and you need to set up that structure to grow, though, because if it's growing uncontrolled and there's not that structure to manage,
and it's a living thing, it's not static at all. So
it's like the most living thing ever.
Yep.
So what's the day-to-day look like as Mr. Whitty? Are you in there just cleaning up, bad comments, banning from the Discord left and right, making social media posts? What's the day-to-day look like?
Used to, the day-to-day was like hard to even keep up with because I was not too much, I would say, but I was like really involved in the Discord heavily, man, for a long time, up until launch. And that was my goal. Like my moderators have been like up to their neck. Like, I mean, they've actually been owning it, dude. We built the mod team up a lot. And that was for a reason, because I knew when launch happened, the day in my life, like it is now, a day in my life is getting up and going through, like, I have 23 message requests since yesterday, So I'll have like 20 to 50 message requests typically, right, on Discord in a day. And then I typically start reading those over some coffee in the morning. That's like after I get with the kids, because I'm in briefing and they're talking about the stuff they talk about in briefing. I'm listening for the highlights and the chimes, dude, like the big stuff. If it's not really an important meeting, then my kids are usually going to be murdering me while they're talking. But so we'll have our briefings. And then, I go straight to my DMs. First thing, I'm drinking coffee in my message requests. Some of them are just out there landish. And that's also where I get some, every now and then I'll get quality posts for either that day or something like later in the week, because I have some stupid something in my inbox or a thread that just goes haywire, or whatever. Then I'll check some social DMs, but most of those have been a little wild lately. So I'm usually checking mentions and stuff like that. Pings are the biggest thing. I skip that. Pings is the number one. See what pings I missed in the morning and in the nighttime. It's like right now I'm sitting on a ping for Founding Father. So if you got to get the Founding Father role, right, in the Discord, that's one thing the mods can't handle, because they don't have access to see what you own, right? So like staff would have to do that. Things like that. So it's like little intricacies. I try to stay ahead. I would say it's kind of sporadic when I'll plan or when I'll post. Like if Z-Storm has something that day, like I'll usually bug Z. Yo, Z, what you got, bro? And if he doesn't have something for me that day that tells me, okay, well, if I don't already have something scheduled out today, let me go ahead and get a couple of posts ready, and get those scheduled out on Sprout, and get a head start on that. See what the optimal times for the day are too. See what might be trending for the day. I'm obviously going to have to scroll. Like, people think that might be it's not an uninteresting thing, but it is like literal part of your job. Sometimes you just scroll the internet, you know what I mean? And you like, share, all that Gucci stuff. We'll have our meetings with our publisher, which less and less involve me over time, which is fine because they're doing like the paid marketing stuff, right? Like, we're going to buy all their stuff and do all this crazy things. And it's like, okay, well, thank God I'm managing the community. Because if I was doing both of those, like, I'm glad you have them for those too. Because, and they'll do like some of the paid side. And I will, if we do spend any money on paid campaigns, if it's any like decent chunk, right, out of courtesy and just like, because I love the company and Scott, knows that I've been in the business, he'll be like, take a peek, make sure like your money's not going in the drain or whatever. And I'll just like chat with them, be like, but I mean, I don't know that we've had to do any major pushes. So, thankfully, right? I mean, sometimes you just hit it good, and organically speaking, it's just Tabor.
Yeah.
It's just Tabor. Yeah, it's one of those games, man. It is a fire of its own kind.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
And how much has the Discord blown up, I guess, since game release? Is it growing at about the same way? I don't think that's a no.
No, dude, it's probably like 20, 30%. Which we have hit some slow moments, yeah. But like right at launch, it was like, and then it'll slow down. I would expect here in about a month or two, you're going to see like some serious booms going on. Once we hit 100K, I think the faucet's going to open because we're going to, like, for those of you don't think I'm going to do some cool stuff when we get 100K, dude. Come on, man. Come on now, dude. We're going to have some fun stuff. We're even, and I'll go ahead and I guess I can share this, the BOA program is getting its own dedicated Discord. So we're about to be the first major VR game, which we already have it. We're just polishing it, but the first like major one to have its own dedicated, and we already have that, right? The BOA program is its own thing. I mean, people can go in the game, get help, and really go on runs with people who know what the hell they're doing. But now we're taking it another level. The BOA team's been crushing it, and we have some stuff that let's just say people aren't just going to be able to. Oh, well, I just want to like, understand the game. No, what if you could specifically hone in on one skill in the game? Or what if there are dedicated BOAs that have a specialty? What if I'm giving people the top 10% of killers because I have the stats? And I'm like, hey, these people can teach you to PvP. Or, right? So, I love this community. I'm sorry. I nerd out over this community, man.
No, I love it.
No, it's ironic, too, because...
So we're about to have another Discord is my point to that. You know what I mean? And you're going to see some growth there, too. Because plenty of people are going to come in. We want those VR legs to get unwobbly, baby. Right? A lot of people coming in. Tabor's the kind of game that can transcend like that medium where people were like, oh no, that's the game getting me off my Xbox. That's the game getting me off my PlayStation. Like, how many people are out there right now, probably never even been in VR hardcore, but they have a PSVR waiting. And they're not even like hardcore VR players, but they're waiting for that, and we want those players to have the best access possible to get in the game, have a good time, understand it, don't throw up in your damn pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, know how to load a bullet. Calm down when your AK goes spinning. We'll get it.
And are you a gun guy in real life as well? You a big fan of guns?
Oklahoma, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. You're talking to a guy who lives in a place where he could build grenades.
Like Oklahoma. Yeah. I think it's the law. You have to have a gun. All times.
So
pretty much.
That's quite a loaded day of activity as well. It sounds like there's
a lot you're going to leave out. There's like events, whatever you can think of that might come up, dude. It'll come up, or Fish might be like, we need to tell someone this, like that matchmaking thing, right? We had this weekend. I might get a ping for random odd and end things, good stuff like that, man. So just whatever I can do for the team. I just try not to screw up too bad. I just want to be a good asset, dude. I don't want to be a liability. I want to be, there for the team whenever they need me. So I always say the rule, if I'm not getting like yelled at or anything, I'm probably doing okay.
It's a good rule of thumb.
Like, I don't want to be a liability.
No,
No,
but
if you look at everyone that works at Combat Waffle, though, I mean, what do we? I mean, Scott
They're
said
hustling.
they're unicorns.
Mhm.
So it's not a bad person. I mean, it's just an impeccable knack for having talent. And as a community manager, you also sit on a ginormous marketing talent.
It's definitely useful.
People are going to hear this, be like, "Huh, wonder if
I'm just a nerd." Just a nerd, man. I just love embracing that part. I think a lot of people don't find what they love because they're too caught up in society, man.
And how much are you still able to get in and play Ghosts of Tabor?
Dude, so I can play. Like, I probably have lately. This past couple months, it's been pretty rough. Like, as of like the past month, I've been able to play like a good VR time. I have like an hour or two a night, maybe. But I also haven't been uploading on my YouTube, which is bad. Like, I took a hiatus, needed a breather during all the move. I've taken a few months off, so I need to stop. But anywhere between like 5 and 8 hours a week, probably a play, if I'm doing my YouTube like I'm supposed to. But also Tabor like gets me in for longer than I need to be every time. It's like I have to, if I'm going to play Tabor, I have to have at least a 90-minute movie's worth of like time, dude. Period, because I want to thoroughly play that shit. So, but I still get plenty of time to play. And honestly, I need to start now that launch has happened. It's not like I can't say, hey, I have to play Tabor during my work day. It's part of my work. You know what I mean? I'm saying. And I have plenty of times, right, with the community. So I think I need to get back to doing some of that now that we're past launch. That's a thing that as a community manager you can get complacent. Something to watch. It's like you can get in too much of a routine. You can't have too much of a routine in this. I need to be able to remind myself, like, to go on Twitch, watch creators. For a while there, up until like launch, because we've just been so busy. But it's getting better, so it's more viable for me and more like I need to be doing it. But going in Twitches and be like, hey, yo, let me join you for a raid. I used to do that, just things like that. And those are the things that'll hit us and be like, oh, man, and hit me in the feels like, oh, dude, you're a jackass. You haven't done that in a while, because the things I love to do, the reactions you get and people talk about it. So.
Well, you can tell you hold yourself to a high standard in everything you do. So I don't think you'll ever be complacent or happy with you're always going to feel like there's a couple more things to do is the impression I get.
Yeah, because you'll find those dust bunnies. They're dust bunnies, bro. They're marketing dust bunnies is what they are. And then you'll just be like, oh, man, that was such a good one I did a while back. Why haven't I done that in a while? Because I can't fit it on the freaking board, man.
So going back into your history of VR, I guess, how did you discover VR? You mentioned you've been doing it for quite a while, but what year was this? Where was your first experience? All that fun stuff.
I played VR. First time was PSVR. Like, I don't even know when it first came out. Like the first month that PSVR came out, I went over to a friend's house, experienced it, almost shit my pants. You know what I mean? Didn't understand what it even hit me. But I did notice that I was like significantly better with my aim in VR than I was in regular games. That was extremely apparent to me. I was like an average PC player, bro. I was not like king dingling of anything. So, 2, 3, it was like whatever. Years and years later, we get the stimulus. I didn't need the money. I ran my own agency. I wasn't I won't say that one. I didn't get government assistance, and I worked for everything I had, so I had money, and I didn't need that money, so I bought a shit ton of camping gear and a VR headset. And because like my friend had one, and we would use that going over his house every now and then, and he'd always try to get me to go into it. And I was like, finally, dude, I got one. Let's play. Then he stops playing, so I'm stuck with this VR headset and 2 freaking fat ass sticks of Vive wands, like the Nokia brick phones of VR, and these tiny ass hands. So I don't even end up playing for 6 months. Like I get this VR, I get sick every time I'm in it. And then these things, it's super cool, bro, but I can't really do it. Then come along the Valve Knuckles, and that's what got me. That's what got me. When the Valve Knuckles came out, so like 4 years ago, I got into VR and started playing heavy. And the game that got me into VR, like deep, true story, I've only had deja vu like 2 or 3 times in my life. One of the strongest deja vus I've ever had was, and I mean, before I had a VR headset, I'm not kidding, before I had a VR headset, I swear I had a dream of like flying through a building window with my arms open. Like this, dude, like jumping off a building, flying through, and I was like, nah, that's fucking weird or whatever. Months and months go by later. Here I am playing Pop 1, flying through windows. You know? And that game got me deep, dude. Like, I don't know that I'll ever have that many hours on a VR game. Like, oh my God. I'm over 2,000 hours on that.
Yeah, Pop 1 was the first game that we got that.
Oh, we were hooked. We went deep.
I would think about it midday, like, it's like 2 p.m. You're like, oh, when I get home, because I have about the same playtime as you, hour to 2 hours, after work at night, right before bed. So it's like 2 p.m. You're thinking about it. You're like, oh man, just a couple runs. But now I have that same feeling with Tabor these days. But I think Pop 1 was the first one that hit us like that in VR as well.
100%.
Pop 1's my halo of VR, I say. It's, what that is to my flat gaming days. It is the game that it'll always have in my heart, always and forever. Like there's something about that game. Whenever I got in it, man, it was just chick. It was just like, this is meant for me. And then when you learn how to turn offhand influence off and start sniping, then you're like, oh, okay, this is something else. This is something else. I used to watch that Stumpy Nub guy. I don't know if you ever heard that name, but it was like an early OG name. I mean, just one of those kids that just, when you got the game, it's just like he was killing everybody. And I remember seeing this kid's like clips, the stuff he was doing. I was like, this shouldn't be possible. Like, this is actually unhuman. Like, how is he doing that? I was legitimately questioning myself. And it wasn't until I discovered that setting. And I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, I couldn't. It was just always shaky. You know what I mean? When you got a two-handed gun.
Well, kind of on that same note, for Tabor, do you have any tips for new players? Whether I don't really know if there's too many setting tips or anything like that. Tabor's really good with the default settings and stuff. But do you have any play tips for new players and stuff that are going into Tabor besides checking out the Discord and some training programs?
Yeah, I think just like good coverage on that, because that would have been my first one right there. Honestly, dude, if someone's going into Tabor, they're not getting any help. All that. The tip, it's not even like a gameplay tip. It's just discouragement. Don't get discouraged. Accept before you go in that you're going to. It's like your butt's going to go on a plate. It's going to get sawed off in the end. They're going to hand it to you in a million different ways. Okay, a million different sauces, toppings, sides, and all of the above. Like, it's not going to be easy right out the gate, and maybe you have a good time, but you're going to have a gruesome time at first. But it's like, embrace the suck. That's the tip. Embrace the suck at first, because the amount of fun, like, even during the suck, a lot of people won't even get frustrated when they start, which is a good thing. Like, whenever I first started, I got in a fight with a Phoenix, dude, and my brain couldn't even compute what had just happened. Like, it was such a, like, even the way the gun felt, the way, like, this had transcended to it was like a whole different level of realism than I had been used to in my thousands of hours in VR. So whenever I did it, and like I went to go shoot what was it? Looty. I went to shoot a Looty. It was just like, and I'm like, in my screen just goes black. Like when I was in Tarkov for the first time, and I'm like, what the just happened? What was that? Like, what game is this? What sorcery is this? I did not know if I wanted to play it. Straight up. I was very hesitant. I was like, dude, I don't know if this game's just trash or I'm trash. But I found out real quick, it was just me. I just didn't know the feeling of the game. But those are the moments that got me hooked. So it's like, embrace the suck, embrace the learning curve, and have fun during that, because you're going to get like so many jump scares and so many. Play silo. That's a good tip. There you go. Play silo over and over to start your game. I wouldn't play anything else. Play silo, go balls to the wall, learn every spot, play like you do not give a shit for the first while. Just don't learn that map inside and out. Get over your fears because like the ambient noises will. For me, there was always like it gets you ingrained in that atmosphere of like anything could happen at any time. Like get your dukes up. Always be ready.
And do you play solo or with friends?
But either.
Okay.
But if I'm solo, it's pretty much I silo and I run. I usually will have like a shotgun and just run it.
Yeah, running solo is such a scary experience.
Either I'm killing 6 people in 2 minutes, or I'm restarting in less than a minute. Right? Because I'm dead. No in between, man. I don't go slow anymore. I don't know if you guys ever watched before we had the. I should have brought the clip. There's a clip of me that went around the community a while back of me flinging myself off a ladder. Did you guys ever see that clip?
No.
The dude like doing a ladder, monkey climbing like Pop 1, and at the very top of the ladder just fling. Like back in the day before we had the weight, that's the shit I was doing. I would get like at the very top of the ladder and fling myself like 8 feet above a person, and like while I'm in midair, like grab my gun and poke them in the face. It was really dirty, dude. Just like mean stuff. I'm glad we don't have that anymore.
So when you're playing, you're going for the kills. You're out for blood.
Mm-hmm. Unless I'm with a team, dude, then it's loot. Mainly like I'm playing for the win, so to speak, if that's such a thing. But to win to me is to get out. But if I'm playing solo, I don't care about my gear. I don't care about anyone else's gear. I don't care about my mom, your mom. Like it's going down. Like we're just fighting. I care about clips. If I'm by myself, honestly, I care about engagements with the players more than anything. Because you have some fucking hilarious people out there. Like I have some dude. One of the funniest clips recently I have is this kid. He's like, I don't know how old he is, dude, but he's like, I don't have any like. He's in the elevator, and I'm like above the elevator, and I'm just like, stop it, you little shit! I know you're pitching your voice, and he's like, all right, dude, you got me. Like these kids will, and you gotta be careful, dude. The encounters you'll have are so funny, man. But these little turrets, you gotta watch them, bro. You gotta watch them.
We often talk about our future Grim escapades because we're hyped for Grim, and our full plan is to go in there and be a warlord. We're not making friends. We're just killing.
I'm not in it for the social experience.
Especially you. You're like, I want people to know. I want people to be like, damn, these guys are here. They suck. I like their podcast, but I hate that they play the game. That's his attitude with Grim. But in Tabor, sometimes you have a little bit of a...
I have sympathy sometimes.
I do not. I am like, dude.
Like if I see the person's got no gear,
I don't care.
And they're telling you coming up,
I don't care.
I got nothing. My friend died, whatever.
Dead.
I know, man.
Between the eyes.
The worst is if I say to somebody, it'll be okay, little guy, we got you, and then you pop them. I'm like, that's so messed up, man.
He's going to find something.
Hands coming down because he's got the false sense of security.
Things are like they used to be, Dad. People aren't like that anymore.
It's a different world out there.
It's tough out there.
The internet's became a thing.
So do you let people live? Do you have a soft spot in your heart, or is everybody dead?
For the longest time, I did. I mean, dude, I'm a dad, and like I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, there comes a point, man, where I'm just like, one of the last times I did, is just like pulled those heartstrings so well, and I turn around and the fucker shoots me in the head. Like I'm done. I'm so done with it. And then when we can grab each other's guns. That just made for, it's like people grabbing my pistol and shooting me in the forehead. I'm like, man, this is insane. It just reminds me of Sky every time during a play test. That's what he does.
I remember the first time we ever we had Scott on Rough Talk VR. The first time we had asked about like sharing a bunker together. And he was like, no, because then everybody would kill each other inside. Like, your friends would mess with your stuff. I was like, I think that's you, Scott.
Yeah, and the networking inventory on that would be fun.
Yeah.
I've asked about that, and they've pretty much... I've asked everything you're not supposed to, but... No, lady, shut up. You don't know what you're doing. Stay with the marketing. Stay with the marketing. I'm like, okay, man. How hard would it be to do though? You know, shut up, Whitty.
That's
great,
awesome. And do you go by, Mr. Whitty in game, or do you have an anonymous name?
It's Whitty or Mr. Whitty. Yeah, Mr. Whitty 2000s like everywhere. That name has been synonymous with me forever. Like, so my last name, it's a takeoff my last name. It's what they called me in the Army, Whitty, short for my last name. And they were able to make like all kinds of jokes out of it. So like when I was in the School of Music, and I got in trouble one time, I got some of my civilian clothes taken away from me for like a weekend. And but I still got to go bowling, but they named me Wit Out Civvies and stuff like that. Like anytime they could make a pun, they would just do it. Yeah, Whitty's been around forever, dude. I think it was like my Halo name back in the day, and 2000s is pretty arbitrary.
It's ballsy to go in there as a member of the team with your
actual.
We should have patches later, so later you'll be able to distinguish us from. I wanted the idea. I wanted us to drop like cool shit, to be loot drop boxes, right? But then it got brought up that we would just become targets, and wouldn't be able to play really at that point. But I think we will have. I don't know if an entirely different outfit. I think we'll have a different outfit too. I think. Don't quote me on that. But either way, you'll be able to tell. Eventually, you'll be able to tell when you kill one of us. You'll know just coming up to the body.
Oh, the community's
Maybe
gonna go hunting.
A nice Dayglow orange outfit.
Something sticking out really.
Glows. You see it in the background, just lighting shit
Neon
up.
green.
Wouldn't be upset about that. No.
I used to be like, dude, just let us drop like something badass, like gold AK or something. Like, I don't know. It's like, no, man, you'll just become a pinata at that point, bro. Like, that's what you're gonna be. I was like, man, that's a valid point. Shit.
Even with the patches and stuff, you might be. I have full. My imagination is going to the community. Almost scheduling, like planning, like we're gonna go take out. Yeah, we're gonna go take out Soul. We're gonna go take out Mr. Whitty.
There'll be more people to hunt. We should have. I don't know if it's a Discord thing. I'm not a nerd, dude. I just know eventually we should have like our mods, right? We'll have theirs in game, like boas, like just as if we do, just as it reflects in the Discord, basically. We want that to be a thing, and then people get their sticking out like a sore thumb moments in the game, maybe a little target on your back a little bit, but not too bad. I mean, a lot of them won't notice it until you kill them, I guess, and go up to the shoulder, and it's like, oh, dude, sweet. And it's cool. They can screenshot that, right? Upload it, social media. There's so much more that goes into that than just, oh, look, they got a patch, right? I mean, subliminally in the long run, how much more of a difference does that make that this person, you think they're going to take a screenshot of random freaking Jeff, I killed Jeff. They don't give a shit. Like, they kill a dev. Oh, I'll take a screenshot and then I'll tag them, and then that leads to more. And then, like, there's always a little something to it, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's smart. Or even if you kill them,
dude, I got something better than like getting a special gun. This is great. I actually like this a lot. Button in where I don't belong either. So you kill a dev, a mod, boa. You see the fucking patch, but you can take it, put it in your backpack, bring it back to your,
put it on your wall,
put it on a Velcro wall. Be like, man. Oh shit, I got Scott on. It's like almost
keychains, almost.
It doesn't mean anything. Tags. It's not worth anything as far as like trade value or anything, but just knowing that it's
like a trophy.
That's actually really dope.
I got Mr. Whitty's patch,
and they might have already said that. Or
I'm sure it's someone had to have discussed it, but just the concept of that doesn't necessarily put a target on you because nobody sees it until you're dead anyways. But then just to know, it's like it's like wearing ears, I got my patch.
Is there a worse, like when you get great loot and you're close to the extraction point and then you die and you're like, oh, it's all gone. Imagine having like a Scott patch in your backpack and then somebody snipes you in the head. And you're like, man.
I'm sure they could make it so that if you died, it dies with you, so that nobody.
Oh, well, we wouldn't. Nah. I don't even. You got to make it out of raid, baby.
Yeah.
I already know the answer to that without even talking to Scott.
Yeah, you got to.
You can make it out of raid.
You got to.
Oh no, I was saying if someone kills you and you have like, let's say you have it,
you're saying it like disappears.
I can't get it just because I shot you. Only the person who gets out with the patch in hand or in backpack.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
That would be really. I mean, but that would be like the rare of the rare. Like if you
Mhm.
killed, certain members of the team who even play less. I mean, you're really talking like.
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine killing Spoon. That dude's always too busy. He doesn't play. He plays what he fixes.
Yeah, well, even we're in the Grim Discord as well too,
Yeah.
which is a sleeper. It's growing quite a lot, but
Yeah.
when
I'm
Grim
super
drops,
excited.
that thing is going to explode. I'm so pumped for Grim. But you see him all the time in it, testing, doing updates.
His
Spoon
fixes.
is-
It's not like one or two fixes. It's always a list of shit. And I'm like, where's this guy find the time?
Yeah, I don't think Spoon sleeps.
No, he's methodical, and he does like, man, he'll just be randomly streaming. And I'll go in there and watch him working on the game, and I'll see him working on something, and I'll see him testing that something that he worked on for as long as he worked on that. I mean, trying to break it in every single way. As soon as he makes something, he tries to break that. As soon as he makes this, he tries to break it. He's very, very, very meticulous on making sure that shit works, dude. I've never seen someone jump on top of a minigun like over 1,000 times in my life, like just to see if he could fling himself, knowing that it probably wouldn't happen. Like he's obsessive, and it is cool to watch. He's very, very obsessive.
And have you gotten to play Grim or Silent North at all?
Yeah, I have access to Grim. I didn't get to play it much. I had a issue when I loaded up. I think it was in the wrong build. I played for a little while, and then none of my shit saved. But it was really fun. I played on Island. I haven't actually played on Mars yet, so that's something I'm waiting to do until there's a few more things. I really want to get the beans. I want to get the business whenever I get in there. So and they sometimes they need play like to get some footage. I just haven't been snagged for that yet. Silent North. I want to go look at the map next week because it is, from what I'm seeing, it's looking very beautiful. So, yeah, I'll be taking my first look at Silent North probably next week if old Eli's willing.
I say it every episode, but it's the truth. It's not just Ghosts of Tabor. The stuff that Combat Waffle Studios has in the works between
they're all home runs.
Ghosts of Tabor, Grim, Silent North, and last time we talked with Scott, he hyped up some other stuff like Ray working on a real-time strategy game. It's like, man, the next 5 to 10 years of Combat Waffle is,
and who knows what we don't even know. So it's
who knows what you don't?
Yeah.
Who knows what you don't know, man? Damn, what a conundrum.
The future is very bright for Combat Waffle, to say the least.
It's not funny. It's not even funny.
So I'm so excited for those two to be out, and just like I said, world freaking domination from Combat Waffle. Pretty much hitting every type of shooter that you like.
And that's the thing. They bring to the table what people need in their life, and it's like they're hitting all the bases. And again, that's just now.
Do people like this style of game? Yes. Does it exist yet in VR? No. Okay. Then we're going to make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we do it in like months, not years? Sure.
It's a very simple pipeline. It goes down, but
which I'm glad that Ghost of Tabor's been here for the seed. So it's like they really had to push it out, get it going, get some of that. You have to have revenue churning, dude. Like it's not, just like money comes out of thin air. So it was really nice to have, I'm sure, for the company. Of course, I got on late, but I mean, just my experience in business, it's typically like I'm used to spending a lot of money and ads, man. So being able to see this side of it and how, you can take a game and really, they really did. They focused on making sure it was out. I can't believe at the 11-month mark what I was playing, right? I was like, how in the, like, it pissed me off for AAA studios at that point. Like, I was like, how in the hell do we have these studios, Ghost Recon Wildland, and that can't get their shit together and do right? Like, Ubisoft is a whole, like, takes 5, they'll be like, oh, we've been working on this game 5 years, all these cinematic trailer shit, and then you just deliver complete dog shit on my plate, And here I had the studio that I knew nothing about, 11 months, and I'm sitting here playing this game that requires me to actually use my entire hands. interact with objects, and you're telling me it's playable, and like Ubisoft can spend 5 years to give me a piece of garbage. I was pretty pissed at the point, and that was my first experience, honestly. Like long before knowing them, talking to them, working with them, this game really opened my eyes to the fact that shit can be done on a different scale, on a different level, on a different whatever, to help an indie studio really start getting that revenue pushing with a good, solid title. And I think that's going to be a huge success to the studio in the long run. It's like we have this baby that's a good baby, and we're ironing out things. We have a strong player base, and we don't have to absolutely rush the shit out of these other titles. Not to a degree in which it would be unhealthy. Like we're still pushing. They're still like cranking shit out. Kind of nuts, dude. Like if I don't check in, if I don't see something for 2 weeks, because I don't check in on other games all the time. I'm busy shit. But whenever I do, it's like every so often, like a few weeks, and I'm like, dude, what? Like the whole ass map's done? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like you guys just were laying down a rock 3 weeks ago. I mean, they really are on their ball, but we have more resources, right? When it's not just like a rush job versus we have the right amount of people doing the right amount of work, but at a faster speed. We have some crazy people, bro. Like, I mean, look at Husky. The dude can model shit like never seen before. He can model something in a day that's like mind blowing. And I'm a pretty big nerd. I've watched those 3D animation videos. And what are those dudes called? The dudes on YouTube. I can't remember.
Like the modelers. I don't know the correct name.
Corridor crew. Those kind of guys. And just like I have friends that are modelers. The work that Husky does is like at a different level, and he does it at a speed that's a whole different level. It's wild, and that's just a repeated thing, pattern that I notice working here. Like everyone in here is like makes me feel like a puppy, dude. Like, well, I'm just like this marketing guy, and everyone's like so elite at their jobs. It's like, shit, dude. I just try to keep up and make sure things look good at least. Like, I'm over here sweeping.
So, before we wrap it up, too, just because they just appeared on the screen, I got to know, how many dogs do you have?
Three big dogs.
What are their names?
Axel, Anna, and Benny.
Which one's that one in the back?
Up.
It's funny too. On cue, Reggie
Axel.
comes too.
This one's the German Shepherd. He's my baby boy. He's he thinks he's bigger than he is, but he's the protector. I got him and trained him in German for the kids, so they could like. I just don't like other people telling my dog what to do, but hey, those fan people. Hey, sit, boy. It's like, no, he don't speak English.
He's a German dog.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's a good dog, man. Other ones are just kind of mutts. They just do their own thing.
That's
and
awesome.
I got a bunch of cats.
That's awesome. So loaded house in the Whitty household for sure.
Oh, man.
This was a fun one. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
The energy is insane.
Yeah. I love the intro story. I think I could have just heard a whole hour of just the, how MrWhitty's story came to be. That was
hard to condense, man. So sorry if it was a little bit of a spiel.
No,
like I said, I think I could have listened to just an hour of that alone
easily.
That was a good story. So I loved, kicking things off.
It's been a wild run. It's been a wild run finding I've going on life without guidance I didn't have like adult guidance per se for the vast majority of my life. I would say I've literally had to listen and eat and live by God. I don't even know how to function as a human otherwise. So everything that I've been able to accomplish and everything I've been, everywhere I've been, nothing without Jesus Christ. So that's how I got where I'm at. And that would have been the shortest way. That could have just ended it real quick, but gave you a little bit more instead.
No, I love it. I love the story, and it's a good one for people to hear too. Mm-hmm. So good stuff. Anything you want to ask before we wrap it up?
Probably keep Whitty for another 2 hours.
Yeah, easily. I see the piano in the background. You can tell he's a man. Like I said, for 33, it's like a man in his 50s. Lived many lives in that 33.
Soul.
Yeah,
I love playing some piano. Gotta have some eagles in my life, baby.
I love it. So anything you want to say to the Tabor community before we wrap this up as well?
Just thank you for everything. I love every person that's come into my DMs, everyone that's supported the game, even you turds, man, in my DMs. And I guess the biggest message I could ever give in the history of the world is going back to that. Jesus Christ is coming back. He will return. And it's time for us all to get right. And you will find happiness if you don't find it anywhere else. There. That's about it.
That's a good end on it. And I've already made note of the name Husky because that was the first time I'd heard that, and you spoke very highly of him. So I'm
bro's a G. Have you the craziest model I've seen in VR yet, personally, is our hat. Okay, I know that we have some crazy models. I know it may seem silly, but for some reason that hat always stuck out with me. Right, that's Husky. I mean, he does everything, but like that's just a prime example to me. You hold that hat in your hand, bro, and you're like, Jesus, and like I can go in there and count the threads. Okay, it's stupid. It's just the craziest model ever, man. The guy's nuts. The guy's nuts. Yeah, you might want to get him on sometime.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to grab him. I instantly made note of it, and I saw it go down on your notebook over there too. But love the energy today.
I'm a good listener.
Love the energy today, Mr. Whitty. That was awesome. Like I said, great story, great energy, great insight into your
inspirational.
To say the least. So great stuff.
God bless you guys, man. It's awesome. You guys are amazing. It's inspiring the relationship you guys have, and I hope a lot of people really, really take note of it. Especially dads. I really, really hope that dads take note of what you guys have. There's a lot of parents that question why their kids are out parading for shit they know nothing about. And it's because they don't have a relationship with their kids.
We need more dads throwing on the headset, shooting fools, shooting little Timmies together. And
we are blessed in that department. Kill is a family.
Definitely don't take it for granted either. So appreciate the nice words. Appreciate you taking the time out of your life, to do this with us for an hour on a Sunday. I don't take it for granted either. Definitely appreciate it. And for the listeners, you already like Ghosts of Tabor, so subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Don't forget to drop a 5-star review on the store page for Ghosts of Tabor as well. Go check out Mr. Whitty's great work in the Discord, and we'll check you out next month. Ciao, ciao.
Take care.